Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. And, I was quite pleasantly surprised when I looked at the topic of this presentation, building a happy workplace. And I do have a context to it, and it's a 10-minute thing, so it will be very fast. We all know this, so I'm not going to spend much time here, but clearly, all of us are not super excited every day. And there is issues, and the issues culminate when people leave the organization. And, we call it the great resignation or the great reclamation, as I call it. But if you remember, some companies have bucked the trend. And I represent a company called Mahindra. We have about 160,000 employees across 105 countries. And while you see a lot of IT companies have gone up in attrition, we are the only company in the peer set that's actually come down significantly last quarter. And this quarter, we hope to come down further. And there is a reason. And that's something that I want to talk about in the next 8 minutes and 40 seconds. While I was listening to the wonderful conversation that happened just now, there are many things why you make a happy workplace. And it could be purpose, it could be support, it could be holistic well-being or engagement. But one thing is clear, that companies today have to turn from brands to purposeful companies, because nobody's joining only brand. You need a company with a purpose. But is it really happy workplace, or is it something else? And I think, to me, the challenge is not happiness, but something more. Happiness is step one, but what people need to endeavor to make is great human experiences. And you may ask, everybody's been talking about happiness, so what is great human experiences? So here is what we believe it is. It's not engagement. It's not even employee experience. Today, what's relevant, and this is, I don't know how many HR folks I have? Oh, lots of them. So when you go back into your organizations and you talk about employee engagement, let me tell you, it's prehistoric. Even when you talk about employee experience, employees have moved on. So what is it that really happiness of an employee is all about? It's about what we call at TechM human experiences. And human experiences are or is a function of a user-like experience, a customer-like experience, and an employee-like experience, which means today, all your employees want to be treated as your customers. Today, all your employees want to be treated as users of the product you make. And of course, the employee experience is important. So it's a holistic happiness of an employee that matters. And that happiness, may I submit, translates into what we call human experiences. And here is our mantra. We are a tech company, and everybody tells me, oh, you're a tech company, so obviously your technology is very good. The tech companies are normally worse on employee experiences, and we have changed that 4 years ago. But our mantra is this. I always say, don't use technology for the sake of technology, but make it or use it to make people happy. Use it to impact human experiences. And our belief is that while technology is an enabler, moments of truth are still human. And if technology can enable human experiences, then it's successful. And I will give you a few examples as we go forward on what I mean when I say human experiences. It's so funny. I was explaining, we had a meeting in the morning in our office of a forum called Women in Tech, and we were discussing. And I was telling them that with metaverse, actually, everything in HR has to change. All processes have to change. Metaverse has redefined how people expect to be treated. Imagine, if you don't know what metaverse is, I'll explain to you in a simplistic term. Earlier, you used to write a chithi, a letter, drop it into the post box, it used to go home, right? Then we got email. We used to type the email, click the button. It's called digital version of that. and you choose to go to another email box. Metaverse is a combination of both. And that's what's exciting. So your reality is a different reality. And I'll give you some examples on how you can really make technology the engine to drive happiness, or more importantly, to drive human experiences. And because I had only 10 minutes, I will only give you about 2 or 3 examples. So maybe first I can show you, if you can show me the daily, this one. Just click on it. Hold on. And you have to click on this, but I'll tell you what this is. In our company, when we talked about happiness to people, they said, oh, it's terrible to wear these ID cards. Everywhere you have to wear the ID card. Then when you leave your ID card at home, attendance doesn't get marked. Every door you have to swipe the ID card. It's just not enjoyable. And we're an IT company, what can you do? So in our company, there are no ID cards, by the way. So everything is facial recognition. So you go, you show your face, you enter every door, your attendance, your payroll is fully untouched by human. It's automatic, but more importantly, this is also a moodometer. The moment you show your face, it captures 8 emotions. And on an everyday basis, on a location, so it's not individual specific because it is GDPR compliant, I get to know the mood of my locations. And wherever it dips, I find out on real time what happened. In Hyderabad, we didn't give one leave for elections and it dipped. So you actually know that why it's dipping. And if you can just play that on that, yeah. So that's how it's very simple. You just go, you click on that, this whole iPad and your entry is done. And anywhere in the world, it recognizes you, anywhere. It doesn't need, you need to be just an employee with an employee code. So that's one example. If you can go back. Let me show you another thing we did. If you go to K2, I'll tell you what K2 is before you click. Hold on. So we, about 2 years ago, introduced our first non-human employee in HR. Full-time employee with an employee code, but non-human. It's a humanoid. It's called K2. It can answer all your queries, which most HR people spend their lifetime doing. Now, no HR person is happy saying, what's your leave balance? What is your travel entitlement? We don't do that at all in Tech. This K2 does it. And it can recognize you again by face and give you everything. Just give an example if you can show. Just play that.
Hi Shayak, you look sharp. How are you doing?
I am doing great. Can you please help me find out what is my coverage for the medical insurance plan?
Sure, let me check it up.
Hey, don't you need my GID?
Nah, I recognize you. Your ID is 91404. Hi Roshan, good afternoon.
Hi Keto, I need to go to Mumbai. Can you tell me my entitlement, please?
Sure, let me also show you your travel options. By the way, you need to settle your last travel.
So you see what happens is, why is it happiness? Because no HR person wants to do this.
Hi Shayak, you look.
They don't want to do this. They want to interact with people, and therefore all of this is done by K2. And imagine in pandemic, this guy never got COVID. So it was 24/7 available to every single person. The next version of K2, actually the fingers will move. It's going to be 3D printed. So you never know, they might code also. And it's a very interesting environment. But we just introduced, just about 2 weeks ago, probably the world's first metaverse recruitment process, which means it's totally in metaverse, and the real, experience is like you're actually doing a physical face-to-face. And if you take a look at it, experience is just like you're talking to a Harsh or a CP. And once the interview is done, and it's actually random questions, you can have any question in the world that a person can ask. And the exposure is like you're sitting across a table, and this can happen anywhere. The biggest advantage is I can do 1,000 interviews at the same time. And every interview candidate will feel he's talking to me. And this is just brilliant. It has really, taken the fancy. I know time's up. Can I have a minute more? Yeah, okay. So I want to also show you something else, which is UVO. And it is, we talk about happiness. Why are we unhappy after every travel? Because you fill those travel vouchers, right? It's terrible. Why are we unhappy applying for a leave? Because the pain you do to apply for a leave if you're sick is like you have to go into 3 email addresses and fill up your passwords 5 times. No, that's not happiness. What does an employee want? In TechM, for example, and I'll see some examples, all you have to tell your computer is, I want leave. That's it. It's UI, which is voice enabled. It'll quickly update your calendar, inform your colleagues, inform your boss. It can also ask you about whatever other entitlements, meetings, etc. that you want to change. Everything is done without any interface. All the travel bills are filled automatically by a chatbot or an RPA. If you can show this quickly. I don't know if you have that. I don't think we have UVO. Okay. We don't have UVO, but the example is very clearly that technology can be a good lever if you use technology for the right reasons and not for just the sake of using technology. Use it to bring happiness, use it to really impact people on the ground with what I call human experiences. And remember, this is my last slide, which says, we all bring our whole self to work. Happiness at work impacts life outside and vice versa. When you go home, people say happy employees bring in huge amounts of productivity, but happy employees also go home and then create positivity everywhere, in the nation, in communities, and in the work that you do. So thank you very much. I know it was a short time, but I hope you got something out of it.